Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And once again, revisiting the Beatdown Battle rerun for the Vengeance meta. We've already gone through EX3 to get the dupe of Youm, and now, in case you wanted to, and you are capable of doing, we're gonna go into Inferno 3, which, they have a moderate amount of HP, 1.7. EX3 only has like 600,000 or something like that. So it's not quite the super drastic jump that we've seen in like the Ogre's Pride Beatdown Battle where they go from 600 to 6 million, right? It's still going to be pretty difficult because they do hit very, very hard. They have a very high attack and defensive stat, and they seal your crit, they seal your pierce, they nerf your ult damage, they seal or they nerf blues, and that's really, really hard to get out of. I tried using a blue team here, it really does not work. And then Carrion, I believe, starts buffing everybody's crit and crit damage and attack, so they're going to get even higher stats. I have 3 teams to show you that can, I'd say, reliably clear it. Maybe 2 that can reliably do it, and 1 that is a bit RNG heavy, but they do work. And first off, what would you know? We're going to use the Vengeance team. Alright, so this is maybe not the most traditional team that I would use for Vengeance. We've got Velzard, we've got Raphael, we've got free-to-play Youm. Free-to-play Aaron you can pick up from the flashback shop alongside free-to-play Isis. And then we've brought Overlord Shizu. Why did we bring her? Well, because I brought her for the alt swap, and that's the only reason. Triple alt swap. Because we're going to have Isis boosted greens for the front 3 units, and because she gets reset every single time we use her, it means that we can pretty consistently send 6 orbs of greens every single turn and not worry about sending alts, because this team is not really concerned about doing damage and sending with ults. We want maximum greens to get maximum points and maximum gauge so we can continue to use Velzard, to continue to have points to use Vengeance. Shizu, 100%, not necessary. You could bring Idle Shuna if you want, and just have a double alt swapper. That'll work fine. Normally, I just bring Trya, free-to-play Trya, for another green converter, and we'll just send alts as we get them and just clear our hands. Like, she is the least necessary character on this team. Youm is changing blues and Vengeance. Isis is green buffing and changing blues to greens. Aaron is changing oranges to greens. These are 3 free-to-play characters on this team. It's fairly accessible. Again, you don't need Shizu. Raphael you kind of need because this is Inferno 3, otherwise you would take a little crap ton of damage. And then Velzard is the protector. We're running Space Millum and Wind Lumi in the front slots, so we have 42 points starting out. So we can use both the Isis Orb change and the green buff turn 1, so that turn 2 we can have 100 maximum points and a lot of protection gauge, so that's why we're doing that. So we won't sit through this entire run, because using the Vengeance team is quite boring, and we're also going to speed up anyways. So turn 1, because we're using Space Millum and Wind Lumi, we have 42 skill points, which means we can use the green buff and the orb change, full hand of greens. We'll bring Youm in, and we'll just start sending orbs. You can spread the damage out, because the Vengeance is going to hit pretty evenly across the board. It's better to spread your damage so everyone dies at the same time. But from turn 2 onwards, your entire goal is sending 6 greens. And this turn actually worked out very well. So we already have the green buff active from Isis, so we can orb change, we could seal them, and then we could put 2 stacks of Vengeance on. Well, 6 stacks, but 2 skill uses. And then we can activate Velzard, so when we get hit by this AoE ult, that's 3 stacks. Their follow-up attacks is another 3 stacks, or 4 stacks, somewhere around there. And this is essentially what you do for the next 7, 8, 9 turns. I mean, look at this hand. It's alts, and then no greens. But we have the orb conversion power to do so. So we're going to alt swap, and then we'll just bring in Aaron. And then we'll use both their converts, 1, 2, and they're still sealed, so we have enough to use at least the guard skill and the Vengeance from Raphael, so we'll still take less damage. Don't ask me why I swapped Aaron out. She has the guard. Misplay. Skill issue on my part. But still, we're sending 6 greens. And now we have an EX ult for Raphael. That's cool. I don't care. I'm not going to send it. If you find yourself getting very low on HP, Raphael's ult does lower their physical damage by 15%. It's either that or he increases your physical resistance. I can't remember which one it is. But, oh my god, look at this hand. Oh no, if only we had some orb changers. So convert with Isis. Use the green buff again because it's run out. Bring Shizu, or bring Aaron in. Use her convert. Bring Shizu in. And then we can alt swap here. And la-di-da. Another 6 green orbs. And that is literally what you want to do. And if you're not bringing Shizu and you're bringing another orb changer, then yeah, you're not alt swapping. You're just sending the alts, getting them out of your hands, and then using vengeance skills. Like, it really does not change. The entire fact of the matter is you want to pretty much always have Velzard every turn. Use her every turn so you can constantly reset all of your orbs. So here, alt swap, orb change, seal, vengeance. Alt swap, orb change, seal, vengeance. Just run that cadence through your head. Another use of Velzard. The green buff is still active. We've got alts for everybody now. It doesn't matter. And then la-di-da. This is turn 5, so now vengeance will start kicking in. We're up to 26 stacks. And then this ult, there's another 3, 4, 5, 6. So 33 stacks, 249k. Okay. You add to it. Alright, we got 3 blues. Bring Isis in. Orb change, vengeance. Cool. Alright, let's move. Let's skip ahead because this is all you need to do. Okay, we're back on turn 8. He's going to AoE us again. We're up to 59 stacks of vengeance now. And now we're up to 66, and he's dead. And Carrion's dead. And because we didn't really spread the damage out very well, Daggeral's still alive, but he's going to die next turn. So, I mean, we could have just left and sent 1 to orb. We didn't need to do anything. He'd still die. 462. There's the Vengeance team, ladies and gentlemen. In all its glory. You turtle till you win. Alright, the next team that can do it is the Exalted Champions team with the few substitutions. So we've got Velzard, we've got Rimuru, we've got the hero, and we've got Guy. These are very important. And then we have Visions of Coleus Violet, yet again, making an appearance on a magic team. Who'da thunk? She's got the 100% magic buff, and then we've got Skill-Fused Octagram Lumi. The AoE buff, the stacking alt buff. This will help our 2 AoE characters, Guy and the hero, do more and more damage. The only problem with this team is it has literally no defensive capabilities against a stage that has a lot of crits, a lot of just natural attack stats. So this team is quite squishy, and this run took me about 2 hours to actually get, because I'd either not have the correct buffs, I wouldn't do enough, or someone would die. And then I really wouldn't do enough damage. But if you get good luck, this team can get it done. And this is a level 100 hero. This is a level 104 Guy and a 100 Velzard. It's not like the nuking characters are super duped out. Their supports, yeah, they have dupes. But their traits are protection gauge, right? They're not getting attacks every 6 orbs you send. They're just getting, the natural high stats that we get from our 120s. But you can put any 120 in here. It's space and wind. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so turn 1, we do not have an orb changer for this team. We do not have anyone that can do blues to greens. We have a few options on turn 1, though. We're going to bring the hero in regardless, but we can steal orbs here. We could just send the 4 green, and we could use the AoE buff with Lumi. You could not use anything turn 1 if you really wanted to. But for this specific run, we are going to use the AoE buff because we have our 2 AoE characters up front, and we're not really going to have that luxury moving forward. It is kind of important that you get 3 orbs for the hero right here. 3 and 3 between her and Guy would be optimum, because that would guarantee that they both get their EX ults, but here at least we want the hero. So we're going to alt rush with Guy, and then we're going to steal the orbs. If we got a 3 and 3 for Guy and hero, we wouldn't need to steal. But here we're going to anyways, because we're going to do decent damage, and that's it. You could have alternatively used one stack of the alt buff from Lumi. That would have worked just as well. But we're going to guarantee that we get the EX alt for her, and then she's the primary nuker, right? She's going to be the bulk of our damage. Guy can do good damage, but he's not type advantage, which does hurt a little bit. And here, like, if you get crit multiple times, your run is dead. Like, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. You can see our hero's almost dead. It's turn 3. So that's why I wanted to rush the hero more than anything else, because obviously we can't have our nuker die, and stuff like that can happen. If you leave her in another turn, she is going to die, because we're going to get ulted again from Dino. So you really have to get a bit lucky. So we've used the synergy buff, we've swapped Guy out. We've used the magic buff, we're swapping the hero out. So now Guy has a synergy, okay, but the hero, more importantly, has synergy and the magic buff. So now we're just going to send it. We're going to send it on Carrion. No one is going to get the the damage buff from Velzard's protection skill. Doesn't really matter all that much. But what's important is that the hero has a double buff already stacked up. So when we go into turn 4, we can hopefully do enough damage to kill, because we're going to have over 100 points, and we could use the attack buff from Rimuru and a buff from Lumi. And you can see Lumi's almost dead. Violet's almost dead. Rimuru is almost touching the red. The hero's almost dead. Everybody's at very, very low HP. It's not a good situation to be in. But we can use a stack of the attack buff, or the alt damage buff. We can't use both, unfortunately, because we still need 55 points for Rimuru's buff. But we have to use Lumi's skill, because now we have to take her out for Guy, who still has the synergy buff active, so he's going to do more damage than normal. And now we're going to attack buff and then use the AoE skill from the hero. Velzard's going to turn all of them to greens, plus give us that element buff and the Drago effect. And even though our ults are nerfed by 30%, we're still going to do good damage. So let's see. Guy, crit against Daggerel, so he only did 44k instead of 149k. Quite unfortunate. Alright, the hero pierced against Carrion, so we did 550 instead of 1,000,000 plus. Also unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And then the follow-up orbs are doing, what, 248k a hit? So now, these two are dead, right? Daggerel and Dino are dead, which just leaves Carrion, because we missed that full damage potential with the hero ult. He's still alive, which leaves us up for this 200% orb doing 400 something or 500, and now he's dead. But almost all of our team was almost dead too. So high risk, high reward. It's not going to work for everyone. You need these characters. You really, really need that AoE buff from Lumi, because it is multiplicative and it does enhance your damage by quite a bit. But if you are able to run this team and its units and survive to turn 4 and get all the same buffs active, you can reliably take this on. Also, if you don't get shit on for RNG and crit and pierce everything, which the stage doesn't want you to do. But hey, it's capable. Alright, the final team is an alternate Vengeance team, and this is assuming that you do not have Raphael. So you do not have that massive damage negation from the guard, from the ceiling, from the element resistance that he gives. So we're going to run Protector Overlord Rimuru. Green stacking Protector, increases your element damage by 10% every time, resets your skills on the front line. Very important. We're going to bring Skill Fused Trainee. She is a healer. She has that 50% ult resistance buff for our team, which is going to be really impactful. We have Isis, again, green buff, blue orb changing. Youm, free to play, blue orb changing, Vengeance. We're going to bring Skill Fused Soe, because he can change oranges to greens, therefore covering us on that aspect. And if he's Skill Fused, he's giving you that 2-turn defensive buff and 2-turn attack debuff on the enemy, which when you combine with the ult resistance from Trainee, means that you don't take as much damage during their ults. You're still going to take quite a bit, but not as much, and it's not going to two-shot you. And then we've got Furry Shuna, technically a Vengeance character, She's probably the useless Vengeance character if you're going to run an actual defensive Vengeance team, but here we need her, because we need her to do additional single target damage against Dino or Carrion, depending on who you want to hit. But she can apply Vengeance, rush her own ult, stat swap so she has higher attack, and then give her a wind buff. That wind buff will stack with the permanent wind buff we're getting from Rimuru, and we just try and survive in our own way, shape, and form. You could bring, who is it? The EX Youm or EX Murin. They have orb changes, and they have different factors of defensive ability, attack down or defense, and crit damage resistance. I think that's what Youm has. You could bring them. I did that for one of the alternate older videos for Vengeance when it originally came out, but this team can get the job done. All right, this is going to be even longer than the actual Vengeance team, because we don't have a lot of stacks of Vengeance coming in. We have 2 people that can do it. Youm is very good. Shuna is not as good. We're running the big 3, so we're not going to have access to the Isis boost turn 1, and I did that on purpose because I want to use it turn 2, because not everyone has the skill point units maxed out. We push having the big 3 traits more than that. So here, we have 92 points. Okay, well, let's use the green buff now. And then we got to do 2 orb changes. But that should leave us with enough points to use the defensive capability from Soe as well. So 1, 2, and then there we go. So this is with defense and the attack reduction. And let's see how much damage we actually take here. And then just know that if we also had the trainee skill active, we would take half of that. So we're going to send all this against Carrion, because he's the one that's giving attack buffs. He's more important to kill, in my opinion, using this specific team. And Dino does 6,000, 7,000 damage, 8,000 damage against Soe, 4,000 damage against Shuna. So if we had if we had trainee's ult resistance down, or ult resistance up, we would have cut that in half for everybody. And it's not out of the realm of healing either, right? Trainee heals 30%, that's about 30% that we're missing off of Soe. Now it's more than that, but you get the idea. That's what we're supposed to be doing, is pretty much constantly having everybody's defense up, their attack down, and when the ults are coming in, you want to make sure to use Trainee's buff, which does last for 3 turns, so you don't have to use it like the nuke turn. And you could always pretty much have it on everybody, because it's only 15 points, and if you're smart, you're keeping it reset to roughly 15, maybe 35 points. And since we're going to be in here for a long time, we're going to have a lot of points to use. We're going to have a lot of points to use. And all of those points are going towards trying to kill Carrion as quickly as possible. So Shuna, 33k. It's only going to go up from there. So yeah, we took not a lot of damage. Not a lot of damage right there, because we have the ult resistance, plus the defense. The attack down and defense buffs have wore off. Alright, well, good thing we can just do it again. We don't need Trainee up front. They're not ulting again. We can orb change, we can reset, we can reapply the defense buff, and we could send Vengeance over and over and over. We don't even need Isis up here. We could use Youms, Vengeance, Vengeance, and then defense, and that's pretty much what you're going to do. You don't have Velzard to passively apply it, you have to apply it yourself, which means you need the points to do so, and have all these other defensive buffs, so that's why, you know, a 100 SP Protector is just not going to work for this specific team. You need someone that's going to raise your cap and give you more skill points. You can try and use Dark Veldora, the first anniversary Protector, because he is doing kind of what Rimuru is. It's just he doesn't give you that nice 100 to 500% skill point gain on greens, which means your skill points are not going to be nearly as plentiful with that team. But he is still raising your cap, and he is resetting the costs. So you can make it work, it's just going to be more difficult if you don't have Overlord Rimuru. So yeah, this is the fight. And it's turn 5. We're going to skip ahead because we're going to be here for quite a while, but hopefully this shows you how you're supposed to run this team. Orb change to blues, keep them debuffed, keep yourself buffed up, and just try and get as much damage as you can on Carrion specifically, because he is the one applying the crit and the crit damage and the attack buff. Yeah, I know Dino is the one ulting you, but if you take his fangs away, they don't really hurt that much, and we do have a dedicated healer on this team, so you can make up the difference. It's important to kill Carrion first. Alright, we're back on turn 11. Soe is almost dead. You know, this is what we get for not killing Carrion very quickly. And he takes a ton of damage when they have all these buffs up, and everyone hates him. Everybody hates Soe, apparently. So now, we're going to continue to buff Shuna. Because we have so many points to use now, we can use a lot of stuff. And we're going to kill Dino right here, with, not Trainee, but Shuna. And then we're setting it all against Daggerl, and he's the last character. But we're already on turn 12 now. But the Vengeance, well, turn 11. But the Vengeance, because we've been stacking it continuously, does kick in, and it does help us take them down faster and faster as time goes on. So this team can do it. Nobody died. Nobody died, which is good. We did make use of one of the other stupid Vengeance units that I don't really talk about there very often, at least in glowing terms. Shuna. Veldora really wouldn't help here at all. Like, no one has type advantage, so his weakness strike buff doesn't mean jack crap. And the alt damage, I guess, is cool, but whatever. So those are 3 teams that can clear Inferno 3 of the Vengeance rerun beatdown battle. Let me know if you have any others that could do the trick. But that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.